Hello, everybody. Welcome back to a new episode of Railway Empire 2. I've just been looking around a little bit and I realized that since I need the cloth from Bayonne in Barcelona, my big question was what would happen with my passengers if I want to go to Barcelona. So I selected my passengers up here, the flow of goods, and we know we can get up to Salamanca, which is the reason why I built a hotel here. However, I'm also able to reach Bordeaux. So that means I could set up a route Barcelona, Zaragoza, Burgos, Bilbao, Bayonne, Bordeaux, and back, which means Leon and Salamanca wouldn't be in. So the next thing I was thinking about, what if I'm able to serve the entire Western Iberian Peninsula from Burgos or Bilbao? And watch! Burgos, Salamanca, Porto, Coruña, Oviedo, Leon, Bilbao. I may even use that one. What does that mean? Well, two things. First of all, I have to adjust a passenger route here. Second of all, I can remove the hotel at this point and instead drop that off over here. So that's going to be the hub station. And it will solve the problem about parts of the circle because the train enters Burgos and we had all this weird construction last episode to get everything over here working, which it currently does. And which it currently does. So everything is possible right now. I may even be able to remove some stuff. No, I'm going to skip Bilbao, otherwise this becomes the hub. But I want to use the passenger trains. So, I want to use the hotel, sorry. So, what does that mean? Well, I need to readjust this one because after Burgos won't go to Leon, to Valdez, to Salamanca, Vargas, Leon, but instead Reyes, Bilbao, and the nice part is this will also immediately show if everything I did was okay. Bayonne, Moreau, because I need to maintenance. No, no, no. The Lyon, the Bordeaux. Then from Bordeaux back to Bilbao. that means. Porto, Bayonne, Bilbao. Reyes. Burgos, etc. So that's going to be the new setup. That's the mill. And I have to do the same thing with the passenger train. Now there's one thing. That it's currently heading to Zaragoza, so it will mess up its complete route that starts Zaragoza. That one will start soon enough. That one is no problem. That one is going fine. That one is returning, so maybe have problem. So 2 of the 5 are having a problem. Well, I can live with that. Burgos, Leon, Valdez, Salamanca, Valdez, and Leon. Instead, Reyes, Bilbao, Bayonne, Rome, Dome. This means that the lady is completely surrounded. I have to concentrate because I think I'm making a mistake somewhere. Yep, I am. So the lady is completely surrounded and I'm starting to deliver passengers to cities she hasn't access to right now. So I can actually at some point start working at getting everything where she's in at the edges being connected to my network. And she won't like that. This one is going to. That's no problem. That's no problem. That's on the return, no problem. Moreno. There's Moreno. Up there. no problem. And increasing distance. So that one will pick it up after Budapest. Okay, so that works. Now it was mentioning something about track directions. Yep, the last part. Oh, I haven't finished that. Guess I have to do that in a bit. Well, we're at 5 million, but I don't think it's actually needed to keep that much, so let's finish that part. Ha! And I made another mistake. Well, let's keep it like this and see what happens. It's a cargo train, so in general it won't matter much. Actually, it will matter much. And the reason it matters is that train coming in from the north from Bordeaux never is able to return unless it skips. So it will, for cargo trains, it will always complete that way. It's not what I wanted. So instead we have to do this. Not much of a problem. So instead I need to think, which apparently is much of a problem today. Good thing I did everything right over here. In a way, I still think the system used in Transport Fever 2 is better, considering you can actually easier assign trains to certain tracks with the routing. On the other hand, I can use waypoints in this game, so I can actually have my trains use several platforms to pass through or to do maintenance or whatever. It's something I consider for another playthrough. But now I'm not going to mess up with my current system. Unless my tracks are being messed up for whatever reason by the trace itself. And there's something else I need to do before we can actually drive along. And that's supplying all cities with the required goods. So I'm going to be setting up train routes for a while, as soon as this is done. And done. Okie doke. The only thing I need to do is this. Which means that needs to be removed and that needs to be removed. Temporary tracks. Remove the temporary tracks. Those who'll be following me in this series know what I'm going to do and why, but I will still explain it in a bit. So, in my current setup, I wasn't able to feed the factory in Bayonne with wool unless I made it switch. So I could add other switches, which would make things more complicated. 4-grid iron makes it easier to go to the next station. The only disadvantage is this. because I can't do this right now. I can do that, however. Which means that from this point on, the train is able to head in two directions. Able to head in two directions and actually use the station. Get a supply of wool to the cloth factory and then that's no problem. And then transport the cloth to anything else. Which means the sheep farm I bought a long time ago, and that's making a loss all this time, now will start to pay off. And the reason I bought it at the time was that Madam Ward was getting a little bit too close up here to my liking. Done. Next, I have to check actually. Looks like Porto is having a supply train. Porto is having a supply train. Coruña is having supplies. La Coruña and Porto. Okay. Oviedo. Oops. Nuts. Rats. Cattle. This is always taking some time. Oviedo. Okay. Oviedo. Sugar. That's too far away. Corn. Those logs are pretty far away, but it's the closest I got. Yeah. Well, at least it's able to get there now. Eventually, now I will know if everything works the way it should. Biome. And it does. I'm so happy when I see that. But I don't need meat. No apples. No need 4 apples. I do need the beer, sugar, corn, the logs. That's grayed out, so I don't need to set the priority. Cloth. Done. 5, because I got quite a lot of stops. Let's see. Apples. Banana. Need to take it to Bayonne. And I think that's it. So what I'm doing now with priorities setting is that the first stop, the priority is to load milk. And if I don't need milk, I can always pick up vegetables. If the second stop, I do the other way around. So that way it's always transporting either one of both or even both. The only thing is now I'm wondering what we got first. Confirm. Milk and then veggies. Okay, so setting is okay. First the milk, then the veggies. Dos. Bilbao. Going to be tricky. Because some goods. No, it will not be tricky. The only tricky part is the meat. This one is supposed to transport other goods. The only tricky one is grain. Was I sell it to Vargas or Jimenez? Jimenez. Not Jimenez. Distance-wise, I think it's the same. Yep, like that. Priority cattle. Priority lumber. Still forget something. And now everything is covered. Long stretches, but in general, not coming to problems. I have to change a few things. That's it. Yep. Lion. So, you'd think this would be Travers, but it's French, so it should be Travers. Very confusing, actually. Lion. Let me Coteau. Bertrand. Lion. Bertrand. Lion. Moreau. Lion. I need grain. wonder if Bayonne is actually something. No, bay in French and bay in English. It's spelled a little bit different, but it has the same meaning. It's called Gulf of Biscay, or Bay of Biscay, I think it is. So that explains the biome. Well, let's see. Where did it go? No meat needed. Priority wood. Priority sugar. I need to get meat in Bordeaux, by the way. I think I may buy that apple farm too. I will go on an industry buying spree at some point. Milk. So the only one I'm missing is meat. Which means that this train, even though it's set for refrigerated goods, will eventually do one dry good. Or go meat. 40 minutes of building. I want to ride along my trains. Because I said we would. And this time not on cargo trains, but on passenger trains. That doesn't work. That does. In a way, I've complicated things for myself again. Oh well, I'm used to that by now. Yes. This one is having it slightly easy, with the exception of grain. So I'll have a look. She got quite a number of trains actually. So I will have a look where to find grain at some point. Yeah, over here. But that's some journey. I think this is too far. So let's take the risk and not bring any grain. Until I figure out how to get it there. We'll have to make a connection between Bordeaux and Toulouse at some point, I think. Because there's also my vegetables. We need apples. There's a lot of traffic on those tracks. Okay, now we've done the Barcelona part. This is the hotel. Barcelona train is getting Burgos. Which means I can't do that. Everything but Burgos. Okay. It's already moving to the route I have in mind, which is nice. Leon, Salamanca. Yeah, because this is also maintenance station. But I can do only 5 for now. Oh. Let's run a little bit until I have a little bit more money. Because I need 1.4k at least to do this and the passenger station. And the cargo. No, the mail. Copy. Uh-uh. Uh-uh. It's mail. First train won't pick up anything in Reyes because we don't have any passenger trains stopping over there. So we're going to follow him. But over time it will certainly start loading up on materials, passengers or mail, and we'll see what's going to happen. So let's ride along. We've done the first part of this route, so that's going to be a little bit dull, but I can assure you the part between Porto and Oviedo is going to be great. Oh, money's going up fast, by the way. Another advantage, it may be able to do maximum speed for quite some time now. At least this part. Whereas it usually had to slow down and increase speed again. So that's going to be nice as well. But with 4 years to go, this is what I have to look at for a while. These train wise. Which also means I have 4 years to collect the money to buy that company and see what I'm going to do next. There are potential passengers. So Spanish roads. Nice, wide, nice pedestrian areas, relieve city limits and it's banked dust road in all directions. Oh, I forgot something. We've got 39 passengers heading to Salamanca. Ah, well, and where's our mail train? Up there. No. Oh, right behind me. Up there. I used to drive it like this, but the problem with that is at some point we would go through cities. Well, we get that. So I have to get closer, but if I get closer, still have that ugly option. That you actually go through. So that's why I prefer that. So let's see what happens at Salamanca. In general, if I'm not mistaken, it should slowly increase the passengers. The amount of passenger cars should become larger. it's it's 6 million attached to it. Yeah, the investments are brutal if you do that. Oh wait, that doesn't work. Nothing. The investments are a lot brutal when you do that. But once you got that going, money's going in, coming in fast, and which I'm doing 2.5 a week right now. So the money we currently have is earned in 2 weeks. Quite nice. Also, from this part on, everything's new. I think I've done a little bit with the... No, I don't think. I know I've done a little bit with the cargo trade. But for Porto, basically a large part is new. And from La Coruña, Oviedo, everything is new. So what we have here, once again, a very desolate landscape. another train. So that's, yep, the mail. We both have one car. Both have no car. Probably the next stop, maybe the water supply. 3 million a week. Ooh. Off we go. But we haven't done this cargo train. Can't remember. Probably because I use this station to supply Porto too. Yeah, I remember we did this by cargo train because we tested the visuals of the headlights in this tunnel. Which was a bit hard, considering it was made of multiple small tunnels. Then it worked over here. No refill. Just hope this train starts picking up passengers again. But the change I did with the route to Barcelona may have had things. City growth is having some influence. Route cost will take some time. I wonder if we ever get a Viva España DLC. Because with this kind of landscape, may be very interesting. Yeah, we've done this part. It looks good. Getting closer to the coast, we need more water, so the landscape is getting more green slowly but surely. Hopefully, the current supply routes I set up are enough to grow the cities, and hopefully the passenger traffic in the routes I've been setting up are also enough to grow the city. Because when we got 45k population, I could drop down a library and more or less ignore the fact that I'm not able to deliver all goods. All goods is the best, but -1 can sort of ignore that or compensate with the library. But I'm curious what's going to happen now. Oh, we're still at Mendoza. Thought we were already close to Porto. Well, we are close to Porto, but not in the way I thought we were. There's Porto. Now I would like to see what happens. Yes, we're loading up. Okay. And now we're also going to do a new part of our train route. Our cargo train was crossing and taking the long one, so we will see them every once in a while. Our passenger train will follow the coast. So it's double tracks, nothing else. There's also something else I need to do. I better do that first. forgot, did I put Bilbao in the previous one? I hope not. Really hope I didn't. Um, that's weird. That's weird. Because it should use these tracks. I do have a grid iron here. So why isn't it moving? Tracks, it should move on. Or maybe because this is heading. Yep. The cargo. Shoot. Shoot. Okay, let's see if I can rework this into a 4-track that's actually going next for him. Okay, and now comes the tricky part. Get it working. I think I put the other one going over Bilbao, which is not good. start by making this 4-track rig iron first. Because I've got my starting point now. I can't split off in tunnels. If I keep this parallel to the tunnel, I can't split off here either. I'm able to do a tunnel between the tunnel. No, not. Okay, so that part is okay. The only problem is over here. It's not the best looking option, but it works. But at least it did work. Shoot. of this is going well up to that point. Bingo. Great, that works. Oh, it's only one train and I need 5. Yep, I added Bilbao and I shouldn't have done that. Otherwise, Bilbao will become my hub and not this one. Which means he is also going to do Bilbao. Lots of mail actually. Okay, that's working again. Let's ride along. So the first one we headed to is La Coruña. Going to turn. No, I'm not going to turn. Yes, I am. Going to turn the view a bit. That's the ocean. That's not what I wanted. Let's keep it like this. We're going to do some very steep parts at some point. Especially since I try to follow the coastline a little bit more. But look at this. This is the easy part actually.
Not that I don't enjoy myself, but you should increase the reliability of your trains.
sort of roller coaster ride we're doing right now. So this is the point where the lines merge. And looking at it, building a passenger track is actually more exciting. Was more exciting as riding it. Liverpool, nah, not sure if I head into England actually. Seeing the difficulties my computer occasionally have, I'm not sure if I will ever move into Scandinavia and the British Isles. So we slowly start to see a little bit more traffic now. And this, oh, it's to resupply. the next cargo, probably from behind. No, from ahead. Whoop, lights on. So for the passenger train, the view is indeed better. For the cargo train, it doesn't matter. It was nice, but for the passenger train, it certainly is better. Curious ads. How things were going with the other train, so we'll see. We will be passing them at some point. Cool. Quite nice. So if I want to, here comes the fun part. If I want to, once I've got the lady's empire taken over, I can set up a train route visiting each capital. I have a station. The problem will be that people from Amsterdam don't want to travel to Vienna. So if I want to do that, if I want to do a video recording of that, I have to go from Amsterdam, for instance, to Brussels. No, from Amsterdam to Hanover, to Berlin, to Warsaw, then going down to Vienna. And it'll be the capitals of the cities of the countries at the time. So no Budapest. From Vienna to Venice, I think, Venice or Genoa, one of those two, to Rome. Then I basically have to skip most of Spain, but it's still going to Barcelona, from Barcelona to Porto, up to the northern route heading to Bordeaux, and then from Bordeaux the one to Paris, Brussels, Amsterdam, something like that. So it certainly would be something I could do. And there we have our first passenger train and another mail train ahead as well, looking at things. So this is going the way it should. This is actually good. And I may do that kind of trip I just mentioned using the luxury train. So that's 30 game years from now. It will make things very interesting because at that time I'm also able to upgrade industries, everything. Now we see the steep inclines causing some problems. Also, if I had lowered these tracks to get the incline less, I think the problem would just move another direction past the bridge instead of in front of it. So surfacing. Holy shit, we're already at 20 million. This is, yeah, I think I basically won the game. Well, I've won 2 tasks not completed, but yeah. There we go, 13 million income change. Let's see how that. We gained a million in freight, a little bit in passengers, but that's because I changed the route. Mail, a million because of that. Total income, we lost 3,000 on production. Total income 56.8 million. That's also a million and a half more actually. So the increase 2 million, million and a half. Staff costs going up, yeah, more trains. Maintenance going up, yep, more trains. More trains passing maintenance post. Overhead lines make sense. Fuel makes sense. Track construction. That's investments. New locomotives, new buildings, new factories. Yeah, only one I think. Or an upgrade. 3 million euro business. 23 million netto. And slightly more breakdowns. 2,600 days of 2,200 days of late compared to the one. Oh, but what I'm actually lacking is income from the hotel. 2.4. Let's see how much we need for everything. 139 million. Okay, I have to do it in steps. 5 steps, so that's about 9 times max. A little bit down. Yeah, well, that will be better. So that's looking. Yeah, we moved a little bit more inland. This is the joy of having a station on the outside. At some point we're passing here and everything is full with housing. This was the last stop. This was the last stop. Yep. There are still trains waiting over there. La Coruña is growing. Oviedo will be growing fast enough. Bilbao is growing. And that one needs maintenance. It's probably one of the passenger trains. Oh wait, one of the passenger trains completely filled up. Nice. That I switched the route at the ones from Barcelona, so which reminds me, that one has to stop at Reyes station twice. I didn't do that.
Blasted. The blackmailer was actually serious and sabotaged one of your tracks.
Okay, let's see where. I know where she's from. I mean, there's only one. There's only one person being able to do sabotage. Everything is growing right now. Look at that. Bayonne, Bilbao, Reyes. Okay, that's good. That setting is okay. Where's my other train? Passenger free. Mail. No, I wasn't that far from Bilbao. There it is. Yeah, the cargo trains are currently having the advantage, so does it? was looking at how things are going, we are slowly gaining speed. So at some point we're actually going to catch up. When I said catching up, I wasn't meaning that we would catch up on it. Did that just... Yep. We saw the supply train dropping in. But when I meant catching up, I wasn't meaning catching up because the train stopped at the cargo station. Like I said before, and I will probably repeat it a few hundred times after, the further we get in the train development, so in years, the easier it will become over time to actually have the trains moving at the same speeds. And the express trains will have less and less problems with incline, increase and decrease of slopes. So after this, we may actually split off the tracks, looking at things. Slowing down. Why? To refuel? Yeah, of course we're going to refuel. No, we're not. Oh, that probably has to do with the climbing we have to do because of the change of tracks we have over here. It was the only way to get the thing done. That's Bilbao over there. Those are the Pyrenees Mountains. The worst part is that our mail train still. Well, isn't still. No. A mail train is behind us. And that one may have a problem if it has to stop all the time. Because that will reduce the speed, which means everything will be held up at some point over here. But then again, that too will change with the better trains. Considering that traction power is going to be better. So if I look at 1, 2, 3 pass, looks like the hotel is working. This is going to be such a mess. This is going to be such a mess with all the overhead lines. Maybe I will redesign the whole thing at some point. Well, we're going down, so problem solved. Imagine being in this train and it's actually going that slow that when you step out and start walking, you are faster. You got a reason to complain. And they call this an express train, and then at some point the train is able to catch your speed and you have to run to catch the train again. That's my mistake. Should have left the Great Island sooner, I think. Let's see how many trains we have waiting here. Hotel seems empty. But there is a passenger train leaving. So. Let's see what it does. There's the mail train coming in as well, by the way. Lots of mail bags. Loading up. $494 passengers, 569 mail bags. No conflicts. So that means yeah, this one is heading all the way to Bordeaux, then going back. For some reason this keeps going wrong. Because it needs to go there. And I'm sure it's facing... Oh, it's not facing the wrong direction. Upgrade business. Let's do that. Done. So, for today, this is it. Next week, yeah, what am I going to do next week? We need to get better access to grain for Bayonne and Bordeaux. We do have grain here, but my initial plan was to hook up on that one. So one thing I can do is starting to piss her off and start buying up all industries.
Finally, you win an auction too.
Buy up all industries she is in. Now, that also means I have to get concessions of certain regions, and I'm not planning to do that yet, because if I merge with her company, I get everything for free. So if I buy this 700k, almost a million, then buying up. So what I can do is buy everything where I do have my where I do have concessions and she is having trains stop, which means that one as well.
Finally, you win an auction too.
Now I got 5 million, so I won't do that. We already own him. Can't. We can't. We've got stuff up here. Cultuur is ours. So I need... No, it doesn't have a station here. It does have a station for the salt mine. Don't have that one. Worms. She got 2 of the free industries. Luxembourg, I can buy stuff up. Buy stuff in Reims. Not Nancy. Not Burgundy. In Auxerre, that's in Paris. No, she owns Paris. The whole area from Caen can be done. So, as I said, about doing the big trip once we have luxury trains, but that's 1870 or 1880. So, Amsterdam. Let's do it with this. Amsterdam, and we're going clockwise. First stop, Hanover. Berlin. Bromberg. The thing with Bromberg is that I only reached to Warsaw. So Warsaw back to Bromberg, from Bromberg to, I think, Breslau, then down. Prague wasn't a capital city at the time. By the way, neither was Warsaw, but we can go from Breslau to Prague, from Prague to Vienna, Budapest, Sarajevo. Split is the same thing. Venice, from Venice to, this case, Grosseto to Rome, then back to Grosseto to, I think it was Milan, Marseille, Barcelona, basically the trip we did. Reyes all the way around, then from Reyes to Bordeaux, up Auxerre, eventually Paris, and from Paris to Brussels, and eventually Amsterdam. Now the funny thing is, I can go from Amsterdam to Paris, but from Paris to Amsterdam is different. But something like that. Or I go the other way around. It's the future. The next update episodes, what I will do, next thing I will do is starting to check all my industries, buying up everything that I'm able to buy up, increase the efficiency of everything I'm able to buy up, and meanwhile getting enough funding, because we need it 128 right now. So she's making quite some losses, but getting the funding to buy up most of her shares, at least next time will be 15 actually. So that's 37 million, because I want to equal it, or I go for 5 which is 11 million. But I'm going to buy everything up. That's the plan for the next episode. Seeing how much money we have each and every week. Yeah, I don't think it's going to be much of a problem. Then 4 years from now, we get the new technologies, and that's going to change a lot because I have to start adding iron tools and steel to my trains. Adding new cargo trains that will be replaced, going to take quite a lot of money. This is a mixed doing 70, we're currently 73, so I won't. 57 compared to 59, so even the Bourbonnais is not useful. The Waverley class may be useful. C. But there will be quite some things to unlock in 4 years, so I want to have her down in before 1849. Because from that point on I can start saving money, and I have to redo a lot of her network. I will keep the old network, but there will be a lot of changes to be done to make everything more fluent. Like Eindhoven, maybe straight to Luxembourg. But yeah, there's a lot to be changed. That's for the upcoming episodes. For now, thanks for watching, and I do hope you've been enjoying it. I did. Certainly did. So, have a good week, everybody, and I'll see you next week. Goodbye.